Former Vice President Al Gore continues his campaign to alert everyone about global warming. Gore recently appeared on Capitol Hill and he received an Oscar for his documentary on the subject, An Inconvenient Truth. Now, Gore is not without his critics. In studio is one of those critics, Western Washington University professor Don Easterbrook. Professor Easterbrook, what is your biggest contention with Gore's claims?
My biggest problem with the inconvenient truth is that there are a lot of scientific inaccuracies in it. There are many claims that he has made in the book and also in the movie and before Congress that are simply not supported by geologic and other scientific evidence. And so I don't take issue with him. I take issue with some of the science that he professes is the truth in his book.
Isn't it true, though, that last year was the hottest year on record in the continental United States?
Absolutely. There's no doubt whatsoever that global warming is real. That's not the question, although sometimes it gets diverted in that direction. Everybody in the scientific world agrees that global warming is real. The question is it caused by CO2 or not whether or not it exists.
What is the harm, though, in preventing more CO2 emissions from going into the air, or everybody driving a hybrid car, or using green energy? What are the harms of that? Nothing.
As a matter of fact, I fully support that part of Al Gore's campaign to reduce pollution, reduce emissions, and I'm a strong follower of his in that regard. But the danger is that if he professes that in doing that, we will solve the global warming problem, and therefore we don't have to worry about it, then we risk the danger of not being prepared at the end of the century for some changes that are going to happen, about less than 1 degree temperature increase probably, but that could cost 1 million lives if we bet all our chips on stopping global warming, and we don't. And the truth is we can't.
You say in 2065 we'll have a cooling period, correct?
Actually, at any time between now and 2010, it should last from about 2010 to about 2040, followed by a warming period from 2040 to about 2070, something like that. And that warm period will be hotter than the current one. So we've got about a 30-year span in which to get prepared for the warm period that's going to follow that one, and that will cause a lot of problems.
Do you see this issue as a scientific issue, or is it really become a political issue?
It's a scientific issue that unfortunately has become a political issue. And what I can tell you from my own experience is that politics and science don't mix very well, because there are so many inaccuracies, there are so many other outside factors beyond the science that get dragged into it, that I prefer to stick with the scientific issue and not get involved in politics. I'm a scientist, not a politician.
What advice do you have to viewers at home, though, who get so much information, be it the media, from different news sources? How do they sift through that and get accurate information about the science, not the politics?
I wish I had a good answer. I don't know how, with the information that's currently available to the general public, how anybody who's not a scientist could come to a logical conclusion on their own. So I'm afraid I don't have a really good answer for that, but the direction we need to go is to get more scientific information in terms laymen can understand out to the general public so they can see what the issues really are, not what the politics are.
Can you understand where some people who really are in favor of doing something about global warming get a little frustrated? Let me give you an example. Philip Cooney resigned as chief of staff for the President's White House Council on Environmental Quality in 2005, and he altered a report on climate. That gives people a little suspicion.
It's very unfortunate, I think, that the politics has gotten so mixed up in it, and the government politics has gotten involved with the scientific reports that have come out from some government agencies, and I am opposed to mixing the two, but it's inevitable, I guess.
How do you stay neutral? Because you've seen yourself used on one side or the other, have you not?
I wouldn't say I've been used. My view is simply that I have data to present to the world, and it's not my opinion that counts, it's the data that counts. And so any media that puts the data out in front of the people who can make up their own minds is probably a good thing. And I'm not on either political side.
What I'm saying is you've been quoted by one side to refute the other.
Actually, it has gone both ways. I've been on network TV interviews that have been slanted politically in one direction, usually to the right, and I've also been on others that are neutral or moderate. And so I would have to say that I find myself in company among politicians that you wouldn't expect to see me.
How does that feel? Is it uncomfortable?
A little bit, I think, maybe, but again, my message is simply, here are the scientific data. Let's look at it and be sensible about this. And it doesn't really matter whether the media for getting that word out is politically oriented one way or the other. And the bottom line is, I'll talk to anybody.
Right. And let's make one thing clear. You said, I believe, you're not a Republican.
No, I'm definitely not a Republican.
And you don't work for an oil company or a coal company.
I have never taken a nickel from any industry, coal, oil, energy, anything. All my research is sponsored by the National Science Foundation, by other government agencies, or by my university.
What's on the horizon for you in terms of this subject?
I have a manuscript which is nearing completion that I hope to see published. I'm organizing a symposium at the National Meeting of the Geological Society of America in Denver to be held in the fall, to which I hope to invite Al Gore, among others, and have some of the most distinguished scientists in the world there to discuss the very kinds of things that we're talking about here.
Professor Don Easterbrook, thank you for being a guest on Northwest Notebook.
You're welcome.
When we come back, a new documentary chronicles the role that Washington State women played in World War II. One of the people responsible for that award-winning documentary is our guest. Next.